C-A-N-N-I-B-L. Yes, we are C-A-N-N-I-B-L. Here at the C-A. Yeah, what's up? Yo, we got Elijah. He's not a liar. He's so fly. Yeah, he's got a big goal. Dick. That's about all I could come up with because he's here. And Janie, oh, slay me because she knows what's gonna be. She's got a cool jacket, and I think that she could be from Hawaii, but nobody would ask why. They'd be like, hey, this is the society we live in right now anyway, so I might as well just be ignorant anyway, right? That's what we're gonna. That's your intro. that's
beautiful as always.
I was like, quit while you're ahead.
It was mint.
I mean, okay, so like, here's the thing: is last show, I was like depressed, you guys. I was like, really. Yeah, it's fine. I get depressed like all the time. I think it was, I've been able to track lately. I think I have my period once a month. And I legitimately think that I go through hormonal fluctuations where something's happening with me, and I just start, if I do anything, I start thinking about it. So like last week was just like the perfect moment. And then when we ended, because just with everything going on, I know that I've had time while editing to like think about what I said last week, and it just made me feel like part of the problem. And then it wasn't even just that too. It's also just been like figuring out things. It's weird. I'm great today. I'm like fantastic right now. But
Nice.
In the past, people have said like, oh, you must be bipolar or something like that, because it's like, I think I'm just a very emotional, hormonal person, if I'm being fair. So last week I was at my hormonal peak, and then I was also drinking, and then like the next day just thinking, doing all this stuff I feel like has been good, because it's like I get to watch what I'm doing and see how I'm doing it. But then at the same time, it's also like, until I'm editing, I'm just thinking about what I said and if I want to release it. So like, no joke, last week I was considering like, I don't even know if I want to release the episode. Like, not like anybody in the room was bad. Like I was bad. Like I did a bad job, and like, am I a good interviewer? So let's try again. What's up with the purple mattress, you guys? What's you guys notice? You guys notice what's going on with that purple mattress? Okay, so you know, it's first off the commercials, right, Elijah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of those commercials.
What the fuck is going on with those commercials? It's a mattress company. But is it?
I don't know, man.
What are the ones you guys know?
I
know a couple. Okay, so there's the Yeti one, or there's the Sasquatch one, right? And it's a man in Yeti drag. He's in a Sasquatch costume pretending to be a mother, and then they have a little person pretending to be a baby Sasquatch, and then a dude being daddy Sasquatch. And she's like, they like their purple mattress like this, like, and then she's doing like all this cutaway stand up, like just like when you're at the back of a Nickelback concert. What? Like that's nothing to do with the purple mattress right now. There was that. And then there's this other one I saw this week, and I was like, okay, somebody needs to talk about this, because this is not, there's this weird thing in marketing, right, where people go like, oh, our next commercial's gonna be silly and edgy, but now a lot of the jokes are just like random. The one I'm thinking of is the egg drop test. Do you guys know this one?
Maybe.
I've only seen the Sasquatch ones.
The human egg drop test has been coming up for like a while now. And it used to be their like go-to thing. Basically, they're saying a human can fall on the bed of a raw egg, and it won't disturb the egg at all. Why is that a unit of measurement for them? Like their literal marketing strategy is, hey, you guys, we took like 400 Americans and we strapped them up above a bed and then dropped them next to a raw egg to test our bed. That's like what a fucking crazy person says. That's what like mentally, no, I'm not, that's not, mentally ill people wouldn't say that. They'd be like, that's crazy.
Well, to be honest, man, don't kink shame. I don't know what people are doing
It's
on
not-
their beds that need
It's not a
extra power.
kink shame. It's
I
not
didn't
a
think this is where we would be
If
going.
you need to pile drive someone in your bed that hard, that's the bed for you. Let them know. They're just trying to give you like access to let you know that you can do whatever on this bed, and it will take it.
The berries and
And
cream
that's
Skittles commercial.
beautiful. Berries and creams, berries and creams. Oh, that one was terrible. That was
Okay.
It was great,
Okay.
but it was
Not
horrifying.
the one where the girl has Skittles growing out of their skin
Oh,
and they
Skittles
pick it
pox.
off and eat it. That's fucking
Oh, I hate that one.
That's
Oh, it's
so
disgusting, but it's hilarious.
That
It
one
was
was
more
kind of funny. That one was
disgusting
kind of
for me.
funny.
It's funny.
Well, because the whole like she eats it and she's like, oh, do I have Skittles on me? And he's like, no. And there's a Napoleon Dynamite thing, I think.
Oh.
But it was
Got
gross.
Napoleon Dynamite out of that.
Yeah, and that too. You guys ever notice that a lot of commercials and stuff nowadays are like I'm awkward and I'm talking awkward to you right now, like kind of
I've
scheme.
noticed that.
I mean, I get it. Like people see other writers and like they're supposed to copy it, but it just seems like there's not a lot of
Originality.
there's not a lot of
There's just a lot of saturation.
everything now is about being meta. Everything now is about making a commentary on a commentary of yourself. Right now, talking about it is a commentary about the commentary in general. And like, I don't want to go there. Like, I don't want to be them, but I'm being them. Everything I'm doing right now is copying like people I've seen on their podcast. There's no way. I don't know. We're getting too deep into that. Hot sauce. I've been making hot sauce, you guys.
Are you fermenting it, or are you just going?
I was
gonna
say I should have fermented it before, but now I'm fermenting it.
Well, either way, I'm sure it'll come out just fine. I like to ferment mine first, and then mix it together and get it pureed. But
Yeah.
I'm sure it's all the same thing anyway. It all ends up in the same thing in the same jar. So I'm sure if you ferment it afterward, it will be just fine.
Isn't it weird how fermenting and all this shit works? Like making
Some of the
food.
best.
Well, like, okay, so cooking food is one
Cheese.
thing. Yeah, cheese,
Think of
right?
cheese.
Cheese is the shit of bacteria. That's it.
No, well, hold on now. No, that's not necessarily true.
Well, aged cheese, the bacteria
Aged cheese.
feeds on the cheese, and
Like a blue cheese or other cheeses like that. Yes, there
that's
is
a
type of
fungus.
bacteria.
That's a fungus's
Fungus.
byproduct,
Like,
not bacteria. Cheese is
Bacteria.
aged milk.
it is.
Well, it's
but
aged whey, right? No, aged curds. It's aged curds. It's
Curds.
not milk. Yeah, that's what it is. And I
they-
didn't
they
know.
do something. It's cooked. It's cooked originally. Don't get it twisted. Like to make cheese, you have to cook it in a big pot. So it's pasteurized anyway.
It's weird. Like it's cool because the more I'm getting into like cooking and creating foods and stuff like that, the more I'm noticing like how many of our foods are based around feeding food to other food.
How do you get bacon? You got to feed
You gotta
vegetables
feed the pig.
to a pig, and that
Yeah.
gets you.
You gotta grow those vegetables. You take the pig shit out of its ass and
Out of-
put it on top of the vegetables. And then like you're eating cheese, you know, that's the curds getting old and getting exposed to bacteria on the outside, and that bacteria causes activity within the cheese, and the cheese becomes preserved in its own way due to the bacteria causing the casing on the outside sometimes.
Rind.
Or there's like mozzarella, right? Mozzarella can be fresh. It doesn't have to be aged.
It's fresh.
But like I thought it was so cool. And fermenting your hot sauce, fermenting all that shit. That is like you create these conditions for your food, and it just becomes just right that the things inside of it that would normally kill the food and make it bad for you keep going and keep the food good and make it better with their own byproducts. And because you're sealing it all in there, it's like you're creating an ecosystem in your food, and then you eat the ecosystem. You're no longer eating one food in your one food. You want to talk about meta? You guys should watch Bon Appetit Test Kitchen.
Well, hold on now. So does that make you an individual god because you're eating an entire like world?
Well, I mean,
Or do
Or
gods
better
eat
yet,
their
are
worlds?
we world eaters?
we are.
We're all Galactus,
Yeah.
eater of worlds.
Because everything that exists houses its own ecosystem, like if you get all the way down to the DNA of it. And so like anything that can be consumed is a ecosystem in and of itself. You eat another animal, they have gut flora. Or gut fauna that is like propagating in their stomach and keeping them healthy and fighting off bacteria in their immune system. You eat them, you're consuming that entire ecosystem. You eat a baby, you eat like a small kid. Well, that's the same as eating an animal. You eat.
No, people feel bad about animals.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I ate into an apple one time, and there were worms living in it. And I'd probably eaten some worms. Those worms were eating the apple. So I was just eating more apple. Yeah. Ecosystem.
Because you were eating processed apple.
Yes. Technically still, it's good applesauce. That's what it was.
Oh.
Nice and spongy, the way I like it. It wasn't apples, it was Asian pears. But isn't that crazy? Like, I don't know. I was just thinking about that the other day of like making my hot sauce and putting it on the shelf, and then like I'm just forgetting about it. There's a lot of things that I did that with, where I kind of just put it in a jar and put a thing inside the jar and then left it in the dark, and then 3 months later, stuff to consume.
Do you
Like hot sauce.
do you watch did you get Joshua Wiseman, I think, is that how you say his name, on YouTube?
Yeah, I do watch Josh Wyson. I was watching
I love that dude.
Yeah, that guy's got
That's
some good
great.
shit. Yesterday I was like, I gotta make beer. I want to make beer now.
Have you ever made beer before?
No.
I love it. It's great.
Is it a long process?
I've made mead.
Ooh.
Yeah, I did a traditional
It's
mead.
a time-consuming process. A lot of these things are like, they have one thing you have to make sure you maintain, and almost all of them, it is like cleanliness, especially for stuff that you're dealing with fermenting, aging things. Most of the time, it's like sterility is your one enemy.
It's your friend.
Friend, not enemy. Yeah, I wanted it.
I'm
coming on my jars and I poop. Okay, that was gross. Sorry, you were telling us about beer and mead.
I've made a couple.
Not coming
a couple
in jars.
beers. I made it. It'll make you come if you drink it good enough.
Salty.
But
I was like, I held it up, and I was like, that's. I'm not. They're not convinced now. I could be like, it's a Moscow Mule, you guys. I swear.
No, it's
Too
a
late.
cold shot.
It's like.
But the mead honestly took the longest time. The beer I did mine within a couple months.
I'm sorry, real quick. I'm sorry for the cum jokes. Keep going.
It's all good, man. But the beer took a couple months for those batches. The mead took a year. I let it ferment first off for 6 months. And then that's when I did the first racking of it. I put it the first rack after 6 months, and then I let it sit for 6 months, and then I bottled it. And it ended up coming out to like 21% alcohol.
Yeah. That shit was strong.
So it's strong. I use a champagne yeast. So it gets a little higher alcohol content depending on which one you get. Some people prefer to do it more like 6 or 7, which leaves you with a very syrupy drink, and I don't really like that. It's very too sweet. Like I said, I prefer more in the dry. But 21%, and you can get a whole wine bottle. I got 5 out of 5 gallons. I got like what? I think about 20 bottles, 20 wide bottles, 750 milliliters. I think between 18, 20. No.
Did you go through them, or have you been giving them out to people, or selling? What are you doing with them?
Legally, you cannot sell them to people. Taylor.
Right.
Cannot.
So you give them to
do that.
You give them to people as gifts occasionally.
And sometimes they just feel so good about it that they give me something in return.
Like bartering system, yeah.
Bartering system.
That's called.
No. Honestly, I drink a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's when you go somewhere, it's like, why would I buy alcohol when my alcohol is higher content? I drink half this bottle and I'm good.
Yeah.
Because at 21% alcohol, half bottle gets you going. Also, I have one last bottle left for a buddy for his wedding. Because I bottled this in 2019, so this bottle is now it's a full year old almost within itself, just as the bottle. But I knew he was getting married. He doesn't know. He'll probably never watch this in time. And it doesn't even matter. But I've been holding on to this one bottle for him for his wedding, for a toast at his wedding, to give to him, because the dude is practically a Viking in his real life. Just beard.
You're like, this is the most appropriate thing I could get a Viking.
Yeah, honestly, he convinced me to do things. He convinced me to go to Ren fairs and shit like that.
That's not bad.
And it makes me laugh because at first I was like, I would never do that. I remember just thinking like, no, I'm not doing no Ren fair. That sounds like the dumbest shit in the life.
Didn't
and
it
then I went there.
Yeah, it's like a banger, right?
It's nothing but partying. I mean, we have a great time. You get to act like people back in ye old times, and let me tell you something. A lot of them drank, and as long as you're not swinging weapons around.
I'd be a kick-ass like apothecary or something like that. I'd want to walk through the streets in like a cloak and be like, "Assault! Poultice it!"
Sir, you have ghosts in your blood. Take cocaine for it.
just like put on like the shittiest clothes I have and go rolling in the dirt and being like, in 200 years there will be a country called America, and then they're gonna be like, "You're crazy," and then I can shit my pants in public and be like, "It's all part of the cosplay, you guys."
Can't do that. The coordinators there are rough people. The good people, but rough people.
That is not historically accurate, my friend, and that is where I'm going to toe the line, and I will test those boundaries because you know what? Get me into one of these Ren fairs. I went to one as a kid, and you know what? I liked it a lot. I want to go to one of these and like shit my pants. Okay.
I'd go, but not for that
reason. If you go with me. You can't shit your pants because if you embarrass yourself, that means you embarrass me. And
we won't be together when
it's about my image.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen. I am the one black dude at every event. He can't ruin my street cred.
Hey, you'll just see me disappear one day, and then 6 hours later, like 50 yards away, you'll start hearing like. And then like you're like, what's that sound? And then you're gonna go, uh-oh, and then somebody's gonna be like, let's go look, and you're gonna go, no, let's go look at the buttons. and then you're gonna find me shitting myself. Just like, I mean, I guess there's not much more to it than that. I'll be screaming and shitting myself probably, but okay, so now I'm making more mentally ill jokes. Like that's kind of where I'm going with tonight. Tonight's about mental illness. Okay, so Ren fairs, like, what are experiences you can get at Ren fairs that you can't get in the rest of the world right now?
Good question.
Honestly, man, just it's kind of like a little escape. You get to go away. You get to be someone different for a weekend. Like, I know a lot of guys who can't talk to women in real life, but as soon as they get to fair, they're one of the suavest people I know because they put on, it's like a facade. It's like a whole new identity, and they get to leave a whole new identity for a weekend.
And that's a lot of these events too.
I'm way less wild
Mm-hmm.
at fair until the patients leave, and then I'm back to normal and worse.
I have heard.
Worse.
Did you tell me this, that, or maybe I heard this on a podcast or something, that at Renaissance fairs during the day it's like families come through and blah blah blah, and then at night like the drugs come out and that like shit hits the fan. Is it true?
I'm gonna say this
No.
because I go there. It is a family organization.
Gotcha.
We are family friendly, and that's all I will say there.
I know a lot of families that do drugs, man. All right. Well, okay, that led us in a like really good direction. We started with hot sauce,
it?
worked our way to the Renaissance Fair. I think
There
so.
you
I
go.
think it worked out
Oh
for you.
yeah, it was quite a ride. I didn't anticipate
okay.
this.
I don't know how it went from fermenting to alcohol, then alcohol to Ren Fair. It was a beautiful transition.
What
there.
are those things? Like, okay, so like you're somebody who's into crafty stuff. I like this because I've been wanting to interview one of you motherfuckers lately, and like I've honestly lately I've been like, Jamie, back me up this right. Elijah's this way is Elijah for me. Which way are you on your screen, Elijah?
Taylor, you're to this way to me,
So right here.
You're this way.
and then
Jamie, you're down here.
Jamie's down there.
It's
Elijah's
just like
down
real
there for
life.
me.
The men are on top, and
Oh,
like ruling
is
the
that what you're-
world.
Jamie,
Ruling the world.
Okay.
Ruling the
forward.
world. That's where I was going with it. That's
Oh
where I
my
was
Lord,
going with
Jamie,
it.
I can't.
God
can't
damn
do
it.
that.
This used to happen.
No,
when we-
I'm just saying on my screen, Taylor's over here, like the top left, I'm the top right, and then Elijah.
I'm gonna need you to stop
down
making
there.
these sexual advances toward me, Jamie.
This is funny because like this when I did stand up, I used to get shit on all the time for not noticing my double entendres like that. Like I would just like skittle on and I'd be like, yeah, you guys, you know when you're with your friend and you're just like tugging each other off and you start going about the things and like everybody's like, wait, what did he just say? And I'm like, you know, when you're tugging each other off, playing tug of war, right? Like you're playing tug of war and no, what did you say? Like that happens to me a lot. So I'm sorry. Can I tell you guys about this book I read last week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want you guys to read this book. It's fucking cool. And you guys might like it. The thing about it is I'm very, very into sci-fi these days, obviously. Okay. So
Yeah,
like
you're talking to two nerds here, dude.
yeah, I've been interested in sci-fi. I liked Theory of Everything and stuff like that, like the book and stuff, but I never really got that into books until recently. And I just went online on a whim and I looked up like popular sci-fi books, and this one came up and it's called Born, Borne, and it is probably the weirdest book I've ever read. But you guys remember me telling you about the day my butt went psycho and like all those things? Like
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that that's why I like this book. So when I tell you about it, you're going to be like, oh shit, Taylor's like a textbook head case. So this book is like, I'm mentally ill. So like, that's where you laugh. Fuck you guys. Okay. So when this book, I got it on a whim and I found it, and it's by Jeff Vandermeer. You guys might have heard of him. He wrote Annihilation, the Natalie Portman sci-fi film that came out a couple of years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah, he wrote the original book. And
Okay.
it's a good
What?
movie.
Wait. Yeah, that movie was wild. I liked it. That
Most
bear.
people hate it.
Ugh. I don't understand why. I was captivated
I
from
don't
start
either.
to finish.
Yeah.
I was there for that. You said so. What was his name again?
Jeff Vandermeer. Have you gotten to see Annihilation, Jamie Lee?
No.
So Annihilation, I'll give you the gist of it. There's this thing, this force field, and it's about 6-ish kilometers. It's big. It's like massive force field thing surrounding a massive area, and it's spreading out larger over time, and it contains radioactive energy, and at the epicenter is a lighthouse. And this woman, her husband has been gone on something, and he suddenly appears to her one day, and he's like not normal, and they say, oh, he got sent on this secret mission into this force field, now you got to go. And the crazy thing about it is the thing about the force field is it modifies DNA in like that it's using and I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to spoil it. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. Yeah, you're like, I'm researching it and shit. So
I'm looking at Born. I'm looking at the I have a Kindle on my app on my phone.
Born's a good
because my Kindle just fucking busted. I'm so sad.
Oh,
But I'm reading this description for this book, and this is gonna get bought this month.
So it's like $10. It's a good deal.
It's $10.99.
Mm-hmm. And I have it.
The Dead Astronauts.
Don't look any further. Don't look into any more stuff.
You're right.
I'm telling you right now. Okay, so the thing about Jeff Vandermeer is his stuff is extremely, extremely thinly veiled. Dives into the human psyche kind of stories. They're not actual sci-fi, really. The Martian Chronicles, right? That's not an actual sci-fi story. That's about the Cold War. That's what it's about. So Annihilation, Born, they're similar ideas. Sci-fi is a setting. It's not the subject. So the story starts, this woman named Rachel, who, man, it's great. The descriptions you get of all the characters and stuff, like the way he tells the story, the way he drops information, he's got a very Hemingway style, right? He just kind of explains exactly what you're seeing.
Ernest Hemingway.
As you're going.
I am a fan of Hemingway.
But he does a lot of like big, deep jumps into people's memories and digging through past events and dreams and emotions and what they're thinking inside. He doesn't just scrimp around with the specific details of rooms and shit. He's actually a good writer compared to Hemingway. And in
Whoa,
this,
don't talk about my dude like that.
I fucking hate Hemingway, man. You wouldn't go toe to toe. I'll tell you right now.
Are you serious right now?
One of the most boring writers I've ever read.
The sun also rises, dickwad.
The sun also sets, bitch. Like fucking that book sucks.
How dare you?
No, I read Farewell to Arms. Man, that dude had some deep, deep rooted problems, and my problem is that he went around his life masquerading as some sort of like righteous left-wing hero, but then underneath everything he's like beating people and like being racist and being homophobic and stuff like that. Like he was horrible. He was a horrible man.
Oh, he was a terrible human being. Like, but you've never
Hunter S. Thompson, that shit's skin deep. That shit is like, let's get rid of the comics. Oh, like he's a psychopath. You know it. But like,
I think I have something that'll make you change your mind about Ernest Hemingway. Look up on YouTube called "Hemingway Was the Greatest" by Animation Domination High Def, and let me tell you something, man. That one thing will change the way you view Ernest Hemingway.
I hope so, because I don't like Hemingway. Anyway, Jeff Vandermeer is a good writer. So his book, she lives in this world, and it's not the kind of apocalypse you think it is. Elijah probably already knows about this. The apocalypse isn't like bombs going off and aliens and nuclear weapons. It is actually genetic modification, and the technology in it is very heavily based around live creatures. So they have a lot of tools, and the tools are living bugs. One of the characters, many times throughout the story, there's descriptions of her seeing glowing worms appearing on their bodies under their skin. And it's because, yeah, I know, you're like, and it's because that's how they heal themselves in this world, is they use living creatures that they've genetically modified. Instead of nanomachines, you've taken the DNA of a creature and turned it into something that, circling back around, lives in your biodome and creates a living ecosystem. And the byproducts of these
We're
creatures
back.
is what ends up helping everybody live. Now, that is not the setup of the story, though. The setup of the story is a giant bear marching through the city. And I'm talking 3 stories tall, 4 cities block large, like massive giant bear. And it's it can fly. And she's climbing up on it. And this is just the first 2 pages. Like literally, that's all.
Oh my gosh.
And she climbs up on this bear, and who does she find but this little creature that to her reminds her of a sea urchin, and it's named Born. And then the rest of the story sets off from there of like what this creature is and what does it do. And because they don't know the nature of it, they don't know really how it helps. It's a good story. I have not gotten tied up in a story in a long time. I have a hard time. You guys heard me talking about anime last week. I have a hard time with suspension of disbelief. And this book, I started it and just like dove the fuck right in. It's a good book. And I don't want to say any more because I know there's so many things I want to tell you guys, and I know literally anything I say is gonna like spoil it. But like, do you guys already feel convinced? Like that's how.
Actually,
Elijah's already looking it up. Jamie Lee, are you gonna look it up? I'm just.
I
saying,
will.
It's a
I'm in the
good
middle of
book.
a show right now, but
I'm not saying you have to right now. I'm just saying like it's.
I can multitask.
It's
I
one
cannot.
of those books. I also feel
I
like
really can't.
It could be a new Harry Potter. Like that's how good I see it. Yeah, it's well written enough. The characters are relatable enough. There's enough headroom for more growth, and he has multiple stories in the same universe, not from the same character's perspective, but in the same universe. So, yeah.
Okay.
And one of them was written last year, I think. Like they're really, really new books. And I just thought this whole idea of genetic modification was really interesting. So we cringed at the thought of it, but I do have a question. If it came down to knowing that there was some kind of bug you could inject in your system, and that bug would ensure that not only would bones be repaired and cuts would be mended, but like diseases could be thwarted and could strengthen your immune system, would you allow a bug to live inside your body that you could see it working?
I'd rather die.
Oh man,
And
I probably could do it.
Isn't it crazy? Because the book takes place way in the future. I don't know when it takes place. Like it's gotta be a couple hundred years, because the story to me it kind of seemed like hard to pinpoint when it's taking place, like how long after our society. And I feel like in their society, they're like, well, we have to eat what we can get, we have to get what we can get. So this bug essentially is this hyper advanced thing that will make sure that I can survive in this environment. Like think about it, if the apocalypse hit right now, we would not have very many things unless we had other people available to help us out.
Have you seen the movie The Titan?
No.
I can't remember the actor's name. He's have you seen Terminator Salvation?
No.
Yes.
The dude who is
I know all the plots.
the cyborg robot.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay.
No, but she knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He plays Jake Sully in Avatar.
Oh, Jake Sully, right.
Jake Sully. That guy. Imagine, Earth is, of course, failing, as it's been known to. And they find a new planet that might be able to house a human life, but because we can't adapt the planet to us, we need to adapt to the planet. So they take like a group of, I think, 10 soldiers or something like that, and they start doing genetic testing and modification on them to send them to this planet and see if we can survive on this planet. And it was really good, actually. The Titan, I think it's on Netflix or Hulu.
You're thinking of Titan AE, my friend.
No, although Titan AE is bam.
Right? Matt Damon is my favorite character. I mean, like, what is unfortunate about being fascinated about this stuff too is knowing that, like, oh, this is cool. This is a great society. Wouldn't this be great to see? Oh no, I'm gonna be dead, and I'm probably never gonna see this. And then I get depressed. Like, sci-fi is one of the hardest things to be into, I feel like, because you get excited about something that you know you're not gonna see. I mean, I guess fantasy people have it worse. They're like, I'll never be a horse.
I will never shoot lightning from my hands.
I will never ever own people. That is, oh shit, what the fuck is wrong with me right now? Everything I say goes a stupid direction. What the fuck? God damn it.
I mean, I thought you were gonna say bone.
No, I wish I had said bone people, but no, I had to go with
because
that.
I'll never get to bone the elven princess, and that bothers me the most.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about this, because like, I'm the problem right now. Like, it's like it's supposed to be a whole like forget about it thing, and here I am thinking about it and talking about it, and like.
Talking is good.
No, but I
need to relax, buddy.
I feel so overwhelmed about it because I feel like I want to be a part of the good part, but I feel like I'm not doing enough, and I also feel like I'm just not good at it. Like, good at being
Listen, man,
not ignorant.
Not everyone is built to do everything or do certain things. Like, relax. Don't trip. I know you, and you're fine.
But the thing is too. Well, it's like also like, I mean, you're not the ambassador of Black people, and like, so me saying anything literally is like, right. Yeah, and like, I feel like I feel like I've had this weird mindset for years that like, oh, I've watched South Park. I'm Trey Parker and da ba da ba da. Like, I could just spout anything. And so now it's like, you know, chickens are coming home to roost. And the shittiest thing is I feel like the people, like, I've known that I've had to work on this for a long time. I've known it for a fact. But the people who don't know they need to work on it and have needed to work on it for a long time are working on it. I mean, I guess that means I'm helping, but we should all just go poop and pee and like forget I said anything and forget I got all depressed and forget I'm so angry at myself right now.
Please cut this out. Don't worry about that, buddy.
No, we can't. We can't cut anything out unless I have like a really. I have to have a really funny joke to tag over it and go like, nothing happened in the first place, and then like. I'm also. Have you guys gotten to hear the songs I've been writing? Like, I'm also like, should I keep like spending 4 hours working on writing and recording a new song every single time? I want to. But
we appreciate it though. Don't get it twisted, man.
I mean, it's weird. I'm like a crazy person talking to a wall, and everybody's standing around going like, "Yeah!" Okay, that's an introduction. All right, hey guys. So like, okay, it's recording, and then I can't hear you guys, but wait, did I get the magic thing? Did it work? Nope, I don't. Yes. Wait. Get that. Oh, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, my system works. The whole thing.
Set your computer up a little bit.
Huh? Well, I just got a watch. And there's I don't know. Actually, you guys know I like sound and I like sound editing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Well, I have a mixer at home and I've been experimenting with it. God, fuck my fucking hair. I'm so tired of it. Okay, I'm gonna put it straight up. All right, now I like mixing sound, and right now I've been dealing with the fact that I don't have a way to have a microphone in my hand.
I can't hear him.
How about now?
Yes.
Well, I haven't had an opportunity to have a way to like listen to you guys, but also hear myself while I'm talking. I can't like self-monitor. And that's really, really important in sound, is to be able to hear yourself as you're working. And so now is finally the time that like, oh, it's all hooked up and I can hear myself and I can hear the people I'm talking to and I can record my looping stupid shit while I'm I got something in the mail. I think, look, now it's an unboxing show. This is, what's it? Yeah! Guys, it's Jeff Vandermeer, A Born Story. It's
Oh, Lord.
It's the second book he wrote. It's the other novella. So I'm going to tear into this shit tonight. You know I am. God damn.
Actually,
Have
I'm
fun.
going to package myself.
Yeah, you
I'm
already.
also waiting on a package.
What package are you waiting on? Wait,
Fine.
the way Jamie said that sounded like a double entendre.
I know.
I'm also on.
It's just how we talk.
You like looked angry. You were like,
No.
I'm also.
No, it's just disappointing because I've been waiting for
Jesus
so
Christ,
long.
Elijah. She can be waiting for a package and it's not yours. I'm waiting for yours though. So, this book is good. So, how do Dollar Trees work, Elijah?
Dollar Tree?
Mm.
Yeah, how does Dollar Tree work? Like,
The store?
how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you get away with that? You don't. You don't get away with it. Look, like they're like.
What do you mean by get, like, what?
I'm
How
so
Dollar Tree
confused.
acquires its merchandise?
Where are all these Dollar Trees coming from? That there's
Listen,
no
man.
way.
Weren't they always around? Well, not always.
Are they making a profit? That's what I want to know, because based off of a lot of the stories Elijah tells me, I used to work at a dollar movie theater and I knew how they made a profit. So I want to know how you think they're making a profit.
You know, I'm honestly, I've never confirmed it, honestly. From my understanding, from what like someone had mentioned back when I first started, Dollar Tree buys like a lot of overstock items, I guess.
That's what I would like, right? It's got to be stuff that like they couldn't keep.
So we sell what they don't, and we get, I don't know, like 60 cents to the dollar versus they get the 40% of the dollar. I don't know what the deal is. We have individual deals with individual companies, I guess, and that's how we get our product. From my understanding, it bothers me that I don't exactly know, and now I have to go and search that out. I'm gonna bother one of my managers. Hey, Blaine.
Have you ever seen the ledger for stock?
Oh, plenty of times. I just don't pay attention, man.
Do you know how many items are in a Dollar Tree?
No, not physically at a time. I refuse to even pay attention to that kind of mess, man. I'm not a manager.
If you look into it, you will be able to find out how much one Dollar Tree costs. I'll tell you right now, it ain't a fucking dollar. So
I know it's not.
Everything you find in the store is a dollar, so the whole store counts as a dollar. Now, what I want to know, how many items are in a Dollar Tree, and from there we can start figuring out what is the value of one Dollar Tree. Like, that would be the place to start with. Like, okay, how are they making a profit? Because if a number of these items cost under a certain amount, I mean, if they're paying like, right, if I guess it's like if a toy costs 10 cents to make, then it must cost $1. You're making 10 times the amount. So I guess that's a profit in a certain sense. But
I don't think Dollar Tree makes anything. I think we just simply buy.
But that's what I'm saying, right? You
don't sell
an item that costs them 10 cents to create, and you sell it for $1. But then it's also like they're getting robbed all the time. That's another thing I want to know about. Why they seem to get robbed. I mean,
I don't know.
Taking the money maybe in the register if they're taking anything.
No, man.
I feel it seems like I'm asking you personally, right? Like Elijah,
I don't know why.
no, he works at $1.
I don't know why people steal. I try my best to understand. Like, we get the occasional homeless person who comes in and steals something, and it's usually like food or something like that. So
and
I get that.
You're not seeing a dude who's like, you're not seeing like a fucking SUV drive up.
Yes.
Guys, 6 Armenian guys get out with submachine guns, and they're all like, let's go. Yuri, you're with me. Go, get the cash from the register. Get all of the little toys on the bottom shelf with the squirt guns. This is a Russian.
Just Call of Duty, Jesus, dude.
Get on the fucking floor, Elijah. And you're like, how do you know my name? Get on the fucking floor. We want all of your bouncy. We want those little toys that you push down and they bounce up in the air after like 3 seconds. This is now slowly turning Mexican. It's supposed to be Russian. So
okay,
you don't see that. You don't see that crew. And then like you shoot one of them, and then they're like, "That was my best friend." It's just, like it's not a fucking Scorsese movie. It's all
they won't let us have weapons.
Or Russians.
No, Russians are allowed. They come through. Shout out.
Yeah,
the Russians are watching this.
I'm related to Russians. My sister's husband is Russian, actually, and Jewish.
I keep forgetting you have a sister, man.
Me too.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting you have siblings, though.
I thought you were an old child.
I seem like the kid that was like by himself all the time.
You don't mention them a lot, I think.
I always say this too. I said this to my mom a long time ago, and she got very mad at me. But I very much was the kid that kind of got forgotten about, not in a bad way. My mom loves me. She treats me great.
Yeah, which is why I'm sure she wouldn't have seemed too happy hearing that.
I was like, she used to call me her chunky monkey and stuff, and one year got me chocolate banana flavored ice cream for my Christmas gift. But let me tell you, when you hear that all the time, it kind of weighs on your psyche a little bit. And when like your brother is known for being handsome and a lady killer, and you're known for being chunky monkey, you start to question their parenting abilities a little bit. And my parents are great. The thing about my parents is that my mom is too doting and my dad is too passive. And so I never got the best of one world. I never got like parents that were either super bolstering and I just became spoiled and, lived through that, or having people who just like had no involvement in my life that I had to figure it out. I had one person constantly doting, and then I had this other person who he wasn't checked out, but my dad's a military man, and my dad's totally on the spectrum. Like he's like 70 years old, and it's a weird time to diagnose him with it. But like my dad, I've noticed over the years is quintessential Asperger's. He will disappear into his room and forget that you fed him 2 days ago and shit like that. Like that's the kind of person he is. So he's just very pragmatic of like, if you need to get something done, you go and you do it and you learn how to do it that way and you suffer. Mm-hmm. And my mom is like, my baby, I need to take care of you, blah, blah, blah. So in one sense, I kind of got conditioned to expect people to help walk me through things. And this is where I think that I'm on the spectrum, because I often will not act on something. I will often not do something if somebody doesn't actively go through and show me how to do it. I really got to see and hear instructions from someone about what is it I'm supposed to be doing and how am I supposed to be doing it. Nowadays, I've gotten my resolve a lot better. Like, just got on the fucking phone with the IRS for 2 straight days, no joke. And after really, really nailing into them about like, you guys need to help me. You've been stringing me along. No joke, this is the problem. The IRS had my wrong address and kept sending things to the wrong address. And so I wasn't able to file my taxes. And I after a year, I finally like got them taken care of. A few years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would not have done that. I didn't have the spine for it. And I think a lot of it was being coddled on one end and then kind of being left for my own devices on the other end of things. So I'm this amorphous blob because my parents, you know, my mom noticed I liked television. I liked entertainment and stuff like that. So I know a lot about cartoons. I know a lot about TV. I still to this day think I have an innate telepathic ability to always know what episode of South Park, Family Guy, any of Futurama, any of those things that I am going to watch eventually, even if I don't know I'm going to watch that show later on. I'll literally in my head, I'll go like, oh yeah. Whenever Bender bends the bars of, you know, and he's like, I can do this. Oh wait, we can just open this up and we don't have to bend the bars. Ha 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 ha. And then next thing you know, I'm watching that episode, like watching the whole episode, and I'm like, this is a good episode. And then all of a sudden that bit happens. And I think it came from, this is circling back to my parents letting me watch TV, but I literally think it came from my parents letting me watch TV so much that my brain subconsciously started tracking all of the shows on their cycles on different channels. So for example, you guys remember, what was it called? You used to record your TV with it. DVR, fucking DVR. But the boop, boop, like that shit, you know? And I recorded that 70s show. And I would do the same thing with that. I would do it so often that I would just start remembering what episodes were coming up in my brain. But the thing is this is taking us in a different direction than where I was going. I'm messed up, but the truth of the matter is, you guys, I'm a psychic when it comes to cartoons. But this has been tested with like times when I'm not in the middle of watching a series, like when I randomly watch an episode, like I think of this joke, and then somebody has Family Guy watch on in the background, and that bit happens to come on. It's the Matrix. It's the fucking Matrix communicating with me, you guys.
It's pushing.
I'm crazy. And this is something I talk about in therapy too. Like, it's literally like, oh man,
dude, why do you go to therapy when this is for free, man?
This is not good enough. This is supplementary to therapy. and I've been talking about this in therapy too. And like a lot of what I'm saying is like, it's good. I think it's helping me. Like I was telling you guys, it's helping me especially when I'm editing, to like, oh, you're bringing up that a lot, Taylor, or you're talking like this a lot. I also do the, you guys might have heard me go like, you know what I mean? I say, you know what I mean, like all the fucking time. I don't know why. You know what I mean? And like,
that's how you talk.
It's weird.
I do it too.
But I sound like a cocaine dealer in the middle of like, yeah, I mean, you know, is just bringing it up nonstop, and like, I got to learn to get a goddamn, what is it, syntax, and this is what Hooked on Phonics was all about. I can't just be going, you know what I mean, all the time, because that just leaves everybody else with the job of answering my questions. You know what I mean. If I
just say yes.
Yeah, but
I like to say, listen. That is something I say a lot at the beginning of my sentences that I've been really paying attention to recently, because someone brought it up. They're like, you say listen a lot when you're about to talk. And I was just like, listen, wait, don't, no. And I've been trying to say listen less, and it's not working.
It's funny, because do you guys ever feel like you observe a pop culture figure, let's say, you get very into them and you start dissecting them on a regular basis. You're watching a lot of videos involving them. You're watching their shows or their things they perform in, talk shows with them. And then you start to adopt those mannerisms. See, that's why I think I'm mentally ill. That's because I do that. No joke. Like, I will get obsessed with watching a comedian or an actor or a writer, and I'll look up all their shit, and then I start adopting
I like that. You know what? Like, when I first heard of Sarah Milligan, I literally watched one thing of hers, and then I tracked down every video of hers I can find, because I thought I still think that woman is hilarious. I can't explain it other than that she's so sweet. Like she calls everyone flower. She's such a sweet human being, and then out of nowhere, in her little British voice, says some of the foulest shit I've ever heard in my life.
And
it's just like, oof.
It's a weird trap we can get in, right? You can get so obsessed with something that, for some people, they could get obsessed with that thing and then never look at anything new again. They go.
That's too bad.
They turn 30 and they're like, My Chemical Romance is still the best band ever, and it's like, dude.
Whoa! We're not gonna disrespect MCR right now.
No, I'm not disrespecting MCR, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, MCR had some fantastic music, and it's a great album. And even during Danger Days,
one of the best.
Yeah, still a great album. I still think Black Parade is their best album, but my biggest is that he really can't sing, and that just finding that out really ruined it. No, not he doesn't know what good singing sounds like. Not he can't make good music. That is not what I'm saying. Not he doesn't sound good on the albums. He sounds great on the albums, and it's because he's auto-tuned. I hate to put it out there, but it's totally true. And it's part of that. You know what? For Black Parade, it's part of the charm of Black Parade. I hadn't listened to Black Parade in about 10 years, in a long time.
You're going to have so many people angry when they see this podcast.
That's okay.
This slander. That man wrote Umbrella Academy. How dare you?
You want me to talk about Umbrella Academy? You really want me to go there?
Don't you start. Unless it's good. I love that show.
You're not going to like it.
I hate you already. Okay. Let's get into it. Let's do this.
So
steer into the...
It's all right.
What did you not like about it?
That's it.
It's all right. It's all right. I had a fun time. It was really cool because it's my style. It is definitely my
That's why I'm surprised why you're talking about you didn't like it. Why did you not like it?
I did, but
you didn't love it.
You know,
why didn't you love it?
The green screen on the last episode. That was it. I think that was it. It just took me right out of the story. Not the green screen. It was something's happening 20 feet over there. Let's stand around and talk about it while people are shooting guns around at us, you guys. But we're superheroes, so it's okay. But we're the main characters.
I lost you on that, buddy. Sorry.
Okay. So in the last episode, and this goes back to our anime problem. I never got to say this last week. Okay?
Spoiler alert.
It's not a spoiler. It's because this happens a lot on the show. There's a lot of people shooting guns, and while a big story-based thing is going on where a lot of people are dying and there's a lot of combat happening, the rest of the main cast is standing 20 feet away going, look at that main story plot happening. Hey, let's progress the plot by adding more exposition, discussing about what is happening here, and to kind of explain how this story is working and what we're looking at right now. Totally fine. Totally fine.
I get that. I can see what you're saying there.
It's the same thing I have with anime. It's not that anime is bad in and of itself. Evangelion, I started watching that and I was like, this is pretty fucking good. But the dialogue gets me. There's certain little things about these things that get me. Umbrella Academy had a couple moments where I was like, this is hyper stylized. This is too much cheesiness. And then after like the third episode, I was like, I get it. I'm enjoying it. Here's another fun fact. You guys know the girl, the half black girl who played the lead. I can't remember her name. Emmy Raver Landon. You guys don't know what character name she is, right? Do you know what her name is?
No, I just remember she's she's the sister.
Okay, well, I know her full name, her real name. It is Emmy.
This is a surprise.
Emmy Raver Lampman. Do you know how I know her name?
Because she starred in some type of musical.
Nope, I've met her. And yeah, she starred in a musical. She was Elphaba in Wicked when I worked in LA. And I used to see her walk by me every day after work, and I'd go, great job. And she'd say, thank you. And then one day I saw her right after she finished, and a bunch of us were going up to her and going like, you were doing great, man. Like, what was the sting for? Like, and we just talked to her for a bit, stuff like that. So brag. Nobody knows who she is, but I do.
I'm a little jealous because she is an amazing actress, and I would have loved to see her as Alpha, but that actually, I didn't know she could sing. That actually bothers me now.
There was also maybe I'm pretty sure she was Emmy Raver Lampman. I'm gonna Google that, give that a cursory Google real quick, because
I want to see,
because there were two people, and I think the other person was named Emmy something. Nope, Emmy Raver Lampman. Yep, this was her. This was for sure her, you guys. Right? That's her. Right there. And
yes,
she was like really, really good in Wicked. She actually was the swing. Do you guys know about a swing, right? In a musical? It's
no, man.
It's the person who, if the lead can't do the part, put that person. And this is somebody who just always is on standby. So this is my first time working at the Pantages, and well, not my first time. I had been there for a couple months, but this was my first time with like a big production show. They said, Wicked's going to come here, and it's going to be here for 3 months. This is going to be the only show you're going to see. We were used to like, oh, I get to watch Kinky Boots for a month? That's fucking cool. I get to watch Pippin for a month. It was the shit, you guys. That was a great job. Wicked is pretty good about the 30th time. It starts to wane around to the 60th, and then by the 90th time, you find all of the flaws. There's a bunch of plot holes in that show. Like, after the house falls on the witch's sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
She comes out there, and Dorothy gets the shoes, and blah blah blah. And Glinda's like, "Oh my God, the house fell on your sister." And the wheelchair that her sister was in. Okay, so here's the story. The story is that Elphaba created these ruby slippers for her sister who couldn't walk. That's the third witch. So there's the Wicked.
No.
Yeah. That's
she didn't have arms
in the musical.
Oh, sorry. That's what always confused me. I've read the book, Wicked, and she has no arms in the book.
Yeah, and the musical is not faithful, like at all. It would have been funnier if she didn't. So she can't walk. They put the shoes on her. She can fucking walk again. Here's my problem. When they find her dead body.
No chair.
No, the chair is there. She could walk. That's what I'm saying. Like, she had the ruby slippers on. So that means that when the house fell on her, she was like pushing her own wheelchair around.
Hey, man. That's probably how she got exercise. Tone the arms.
I mean, would you do it out of sentimental value? Would she have stayed in the chair? I don't know. It's fucking stupid. Anyway, show's great.
I mean, if you in the movie, in the musical, she's way more innocent of a human being.
Yeah.
So
of it. It's a good show. It really is.
It's a good show.
Yeah. And like the music's great. So when I started watching I cannot remember her name, but the girl who was playing Elphaba was sick. And the thing, when you're doing musicals and stuff like all the time, you get used to singing. And I like to sing. You guys know enough about me to know I like to sing. And if I get into a musical, I will sing the music every single day to get it practiced in my head. That's how I learn it. And I've actually pulled back a lot in recent years because it used to be, I'll listen to the music every single day and I'll listen to whatever else I want. So when we're doing Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson, where I'm the head of a punk rock band, meanwhile at nighttime, I'm going, they will not force us, and like belting in my car on the drive home after rehearsal. So I'm pretty sure I have nodes which develop after you sing and damage your throat for a long time. But because I think it's got to do something being near your lymph nodes too. But when you damage your voice a lot, you get really susceptible to sickness for some reason. And I've noticed it with a lot of actors. You all are gathered together. You're passing shit around each other because you're always hanging out with each other. And then at the end of the day, you know, you're singing a bunch. And then for me, going home, singing some more and smoking weed, and you just blow your voice out nonstop.
Sarah bringing the plague.
Yeah. So this woman.
Shout out to Sarah. You brought the plague.
You're right. She definitely brought that plague during that show.
You brought that plague.
So during Wicked, the first show I see, the first performance of Wicked I ever saw was The Swing. And I remember going like, wow, she is so good. I wonder what the actual performer's like. And then a week later, we still had the same swing. And I was like, this is not good, right? Like, this means wrong. And then finally, they brought in the actual singer. I believe her name was Emmy also, but it was Emmy something else. She comes in. I even saw her drinking a Starbucks before work and everything. It was weird. And then she goes in, performs, and she fucking bombs, you guys. End of Act 1, there is that whole, and all of Oz will never die. Like it's a note, and you got to sing it full voice if you're a woman and stuff like that. You cannot pull back, and it is like like ooh, Broadway professional level theater. Oh my god! And we all just like crawled inside our fucking skins and hit there, and didn't see her the next night, you guys. And that went on for a while, like about a month of the 3-month run. And then they just said, she's done. And they took her out of the show and replaced her with The Swing. And Emmy Raver Lampman, who nailed it, you guys saw an Umbrella Academy. And I do not think that those two events are not connected. I definitely think that those, yeah, it's crazy, right? Small fucking world. And I have that shit happen all the fucking time, where it's pretty cool. I just had my cousin, I don't know if I told you guys, do you guys know Theo Vaughn?
No.
Elijah, do you know Theo Vaughn? He's like a friend of Joe Rogan and stuff. He's one of those like comedians in the circuit and stuff like that. Not only have I had one friend open for him, but my cousin actually is apparently pretty good friends with him. Hung out with Theo Vaughn and Joey Coco Diaz, like, and did their show and stuff like that. It's.
So why aren't you famous, Taylor? Go.
I just know people. I mean,
man, you got to make these connections
let those
work for you,
people
man.
know you.
I love those people, and I want to let them do their own thing. I almost went and saw my buddy Bruce a while ago. Actually, he went to he was with Theo Vaughn. They performed in Tahoe, and it was going to be last second, and it was like the night before work, and I actually turned to Jill and I was like, do you want to go to Tahoe and go see my friend Bruce? But he's one of those people on Instagram. He's one of those people that like, they follow you and you're friends with them and they respond maybe a couple times and then like kind of disappear. So he's famous. He really is. Like it's crazy to say, but he's good. I've wanted to talk about him for a while, actually. He's one of the funniest comedians I've ever gotten to personally know. He's got one of the best names ever, Bruce Gray. He's got blonde, beautiful Aryan, like totally looks like a supremacist hair, and like he's the dude that got me into stand-up, like for sure. I started randomly in Bakersfield. There's this place, I can't remember the name of it, and I used to go there, and this friend of mine I had years ago, she just goes, I know of this open mic and it's down the road and I'll go to support you. And the girl I was dating at the time was like, yeah, I'll go with you guys and we'll all support you. And then I had two friends. So they all went to support me. And I don't know if I killed it. I went up, I told my jokes. They were laughing, but I kind of like blacked out and then got off stage. And I was like, well, how was that? And they were like, that was awesome. And I was like, I don't know what happened. And kind of kept going back. There was one night I showed up at 6 o'clock. Nobody showed up by 10 o'clock. Like it was just a dead night. And that's okay. And I almost was like, hey, you guys, I'm going to dip. And they were like, no, you're not. fucking coming to the stage is Taylor Lozano. And they made me like go on stage and practice my set. And one of the most fun things is honestly to go practice a set at like 10 o'clock at night with 10 people and just hang out with them. And one night I'm there, I do my set, and this guy goes up and he just fucking kills it. He's got this kind of Robin Williams energy of like moving around and stuff, even though he doesn't look like he could move fast and stuff. He's really quippy and with it. He's kind of got a Bakersfield kind of right-wingy sound to him, but then he's saying some really smart shit at the same time. And he's doing crowd work, and he's 3-4 years younger than me. Like, he's a kid. And he comes off stage, and I'm just hanging out, and he just randomly walks up to me and he goes, dude, your set was awesome. Do you want to come do my open mic or come do my show? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I'm there's this place, Jerry's in Bakersfield. That's the known like pizza rock joint and stuff like that. And I'd never like performed in like a basement before. And that was my first gig, was going to this basement that everybody, as long as I'd been in Bakersfield, had talked about performing there and stuff. And I got to do 10 minutes. And from there, I kind of like hung out with those guys, and they were great. And it was, you know, they became, to be frank, they became my best friends for like a long time. Honestly, I think we kind of fell out because of me, because I'm very much a control freak. And so like when I ended up hosting a show later on, I was very emphatic about like, come on, you guys, you have to like rehearse, you have to do this stuff. And I don't think they like that. And I kind of stopped getting invited to go do stand-up. Pretty sure that's what happened. They still, and that's the thing too, they still invited me. They never ever said anything bad about me. I think I just put a bad impression out there. And that's just the nature of the business, is really like.
Why don't we show them now?
Huh?
Dude, as soon as this curfew lifts up, let's do it.
I'd be down to go do some more stand-up. I've been wanting
Let's
to
do some stand-up, man.
I've
never done it. Let's do this.
Part of why I'm doing this right now is because I want to do stand-up. And I know, like, I don't know how much we're allowed to talk about the fourth wall or something like that, but it's like, I would love to do stand-up with the fourth wall again, but it's also that mentality of like, I want to go to other people's places. Like, for example, I would love to do this podcast at a bar. I don't want to do it at the fourth wall. We're probably going to do it at the fourth wall.
Wait, whose permission do you need? Because aren't you one of the directors for like the fourth wall?
We need permission from the people who own the property, which is the company I work for. Yeah, and we're kind of lucky because since we're the only creative group that is in there, we kind of get free reign of how often we work in there. And it's not even that we're the only ones, so we own the place. It's literally like we're the only ones asking to do stuff in there. And because we've been getting people in there, actually people have been asking to do work in there. We had Vagina Monologues go through a short while ago with a deaf group. And, you know, they used to have these band shows go through on a regular basis, a lot of different kinds of shows going through there, but not a lot staying there. So far, Fourth Wall has been the only permanent residence in the theater. And we've talked about, like, wouldn't it be great if we had our own space one day? But at the same time, it's like, it's such a big...
Super expensive.
It's expensive. Not to mention, you know, you start a new space. If I were to go and rent out a space right now and start focusing on that, that's my life for the next 10 years. That's And I've, especially with these projects, I've very much come to realize, like, I don't want to be an artistic director. I don't want to do community theater. I don't even necessarily want to do professional theater in any right. I want to perform. I just want to like do performance art. That's why I like doing the little stupid loop machine stuff for you guys and trying to talk to you about things. Is like, it literally for me at this point is hopefully me talking to you guys is entertaining. Hopefully me.
Definitely.
Hopefully me doing some stupid jokes and some stupid songs that I'm not thinking about while I'm doing them is entertaining, because for me, if I can do that and get something out of it, I'll feel better.
I mean, I keep coming back for a reason. I really enjoy this.
Well, stop it. Oh my God.
Highlight of my Thursdays.
Oh my God. You're just breaking me right now. Gerald, did you hear what Jamie said? No, she was talking about how she loves my podcast.
No, she wasn't talking about my fat ass. Yeah, Gerald, you've had too much to drink tonight. Oh my God, Jamie Lee. Yeah.
Jeez, Gerald's feisty tonight.
Gerald, are you feisty tonight? He says he's gonna put his hand up my ass later on. So.
Okay.
Oh, dude, he's gonna wear you like a puppet, like a muppet.
He's gonna wear a puppet because here's the fact of the matter is, Richard and I are into puppet play. You know, when you start getting into puppet play like me and Richard have, you start to understand that the inside of your organs are like one big inside of a puppet. And you can just
Oh my gosh.
No, we're stopping here.
you can get the nails in and get the fingers into any orifices. You can basically
Oh my God.
look, every human being has two anuses. And when you put your hand in one, you've only done half your work. If you can get all the way there, you know you've really tackled something here.
This is beyond anywhere I thought this would go. Oh,
I said there would be improv.
it's definitely improvised.
I mean, I feel like this happens with a lot of people who can't stop making jokes, and this has been something that's been. I think this is part of why I'm depressed and why I keep going like I'm part of the problem. I'm a fucking asshole. I'm a blah blah blah. Is because for a comedian, I think a person who wants to be a comedian, a person who just, and I don't even mean doing stand up. I mean like I just want to be funny. I just want to make things that are funny. It doesn't matter how I'm doing it as long as I'm getting to make jokes and blah 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 blah. There's something about us though. And you know, I see this in a lot of my friends too. Like the people who I find are the funniest people are the people going through the most shit. You know, and I'm not saying I'm not going through a lot of shit, but it's literally just like the people who are having trouble coping, the people who maybe are seeing like things for what they are to a certain extent, are dealing with their own problems by going like, God, can somebody else just in the room just laugh for me right now? Like, that's all I want. I just want somebody else to go, hey, I said something and you thought it was funny and you got something out of it. It's a weird, it's weird because it feels like if other people aren't laughing, I'm hurting in a certain extent. And I guess it's why I have trouble reading Elijah and why you get called out the most when you're doing your like, oh my God, oh, he's going that direction. Like, because you think it's funny, but you're not laughing because that's how you deal with laughter. When I think something's really funny, I start going, like that's my marker.
I don't like the way I laugh. To be honest, I don't like the way I laugh. So
But
ever since I was
your
younger, I just learned
laughter is
to.
music to my ears.
Yeah, what's wrong with
I appreciate that, but I don't like laughing too loud because it sounds. I don't.
Who made you think
It
that?
sounds terrible, huh?
Who hurt you? Let me beat him up.
No
for
one
you.
hurt me. I just don't like the way I sound.
But can you
I
think
don't
of
like the way I sound
what?
in anything I do. I
Okay,
don't like the way I sound on the phone, on the TV, on the radio.
you're being a real
I don't like
bitch
the way I
right
sound.
now. I want to compliment you, and
Stop! I won't take it.
why don't
You
you
are amazing. You are wonderful. You're perfect. Don't you
second it?
I just don't like the way I laugh. That's all. I just don't like the way I just don't like the way it sounds in my voice. I'm never big, but I do talk a lot. Anyway, it doesn't bother me. But I just don't
And
laugh
I
very
love
loud.
when you talk. I will always listen to you. You
Oh.
matter to me.
And that's a great
Oh,
point.
Jamie.
All right. Here we go. Good, bad dog and real daddy. Yo, you guys got any prompts for this final second to last rap? Because we're gonna end with a song too, right? What's the suggestion? What's the subject?
Chicken strips.
Yeah. I got that chicken strips in my dick and I put them in. They make me sick, but I know every single time I have them, I know I just gotta pick and grab them and get them in my fist each time. And I look, and I like the run, and I like the way that Chris looks at me, and I know that they make me feel free. So I tell those little chicken strips, hey, I want you to strip for me, chicken strip. That's the problem with the chicken strip, is it's not sentient. It's not like an ant, because they can't build hills and carry wills and get everybody to pay their bills, because chicken strips don't have any sort of societal structure for their own system. Yeah! So I eat those chicken strips every single day, and I don't know where the play comes from, because I tell myself, hey, you gotta stop, you gotta get real well, gotta get some food in your system, yeah, gotta get that kale and play it like you know you got that vegetarian proclivities, but you see these teasing every single time, getting out the veggies, laying out the rhyme, and they don't know where the rhyme goes to, because they just shave everything off and go, ooh, my indigestion is gone away. But you're gonna shit 6 times a day, 6 times a day. You're gonna shit 6 times a day, 6 times a day, 6 times a day. You're gonna shit 6 times a day, 6 times a day, 6 times a day. You're gonna shit 6 times a day, 6 times a day, 6 times a day. You're gonna shit 6 times a day, 6 times a day. I'm a bitch. Okay. Good.
That
Good.
was beautiful.
Okay. I was like, after two, I was halfway there to being like, not gonna do it again. But like last week, I like nailed it that second time, and then like the third and fourth time, I didn't nail it. So I was like, I'm not doing it again. And then I did it again, and I nailed it. Okay. So something happened to me today.
What?
Something fucking crazy.
In a good way?
No, it was weird. It was okay. So I had to go to the bank. I had to buy weed today. So I'm going to buy weed today, and I have to go move money around. Jill and I both pay rent, so I had to like get that all split up and everything. And I'm at the counter, or I'm at the ATM. I have my cards and I have her cards because she's not with us. And first we try to do it and it's not working. So I walk up to the ATM and I'm like, God, just get this done quick. But it's taking forever and I'm getting everything wrong. So I'm trying to hurry and I feel somebody behind me. And I know there's somebody like a ways away because I can see him out of the corner of my eye. So I'm like, gotta hurry. I take the money out of her account, start putting it into my account so I can pay online. And I'm like getting half what? Excuse me. Oh, fuck. I need alcohol. All right. So I'm about halfway. And I'm about halfway and I'm, counting it out. And I hear the voice go, are you going to take much longer? But it's like, it's stankier than that, you guys. It's like, you're not going to take much longer, are you? Or some bullshit like that. And I go, yeah. I'm hurrying. I'm trying. I've got a lot of stuff I got to take care of. And he's like, because I saw you handling a lot of things and you're taking quite a while. And you're doing a lot of transactions. And I turned around to him and I went, yeah, I have a lot of transactions. And then I went back to my shit. This guy is about 50 to 60. He looks like one of those motherfuckers that you're like, that guy's like 80, 90 years old. And then you find out he's like 50 years old. Like he's that unhealthy. No fucking neck. Like, and I don't put my head on there. I mean like meat just straight fucking down. And you could see it. And he's an asshole, right? And it's white as the fucking day. And he's got gray hair and glasses and I'm just like, yeah, I've got a lot of transactions. And I go back to my shit. Like, you guys see where I'm getting with this, right? Like, I didn't do, obvious. Oh, Adam's here. Oh my God. Okay.
Yay! I told him.
Well, I gotta get Adam caught up on things then, I guess.
Plenty of space in the van.
Right. There's always space in there because like all the little van things I'm doing with like gasoline and stuff. Like that. I was like, that's cute.
It's cute.
Adam, yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Oh, actually,
Okay.
that's a dam.
A dam.
Damn.
A dam.
Damn.
Just yet. Wait till he gets it loaded up. See how calm his face is. But then the second that he hears me talking about him, oh damn it! Okay, I should just continue my story. And I'll get him caught up when the time comes. But still,
Okay.
like I was like seeing like a unicorn in the fucking woods. So this guy behind me, Stanky, is like,
Mhm.
"Are you taking too long?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a lot of transactions." So then I'm like doing my shit, and I'm hurrying, and I hear, "What's with your fucking attitude? You need to watch your fucking attitude. Where are you getting that from?" And I don't say anything. And I'm like, just fucking ignore him. And he goes, "Answer me. Where's your fucking attitude coming
Oh
from?"
my God.
And I go, "I don't have to answer you, dude." And I just keep doing my shit and like focusing on that. And I'm thinking, and I've already told Ben and Jill, like I, no joke, almost was gonna like, because I realized like, oh, I didn't put this check into Jill's account correctly. I got to try it again. But you know what? It's been too long. But then I started going, oh, I'm going to finish my shit, take my card out, and then put her card in and very slowly turn around and go like, and just like fucking ruin that guy's day even further. Adam, can you hear us? Are you with us, Adam? Adam.
Damn.
Damn.
5,000.
Can I unmute him? I can unmute him. No, I can't. It won't let me unmute him. Wow. And this, you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're talking about right now. America is in a military state where we're being muted. I can't even unmute Adam to talk about the truth right now.
Oh, Lord.
Adam came here to deliver the good word.
Good word. Oh, okay, hold on.
Okay.
That's okay, baby boy. It's all right.
This sounds like a personal problem.
If you can stay in the group
together.
and listen, then you can hear my story. So at the bank, fucking asshole behind me, he's like, "You gonna take much longer?" And I say, "Yeah, give me a second." And he's like, because you know you've done a lot of transactions. I'm like, "Yeah, I had a lot of transactions." So then I go back to my shit, and he's like, "What's your fucking attitude? What the fuck is with your fucking attitude?" And I say, I don't have to answer you, dude. After he's like, "Well, answer me. What's with your fucking attitude?" And then I finish my shit, literally consider putting another card in just to fuck with him, just to ruin his day more. And then I go, "You know what? My mother always said it to me best. Kill them with kindness." So you know what I did? I finished my shit, put all my things away. And I very calmly turn around and I get pretty close to him, like COVID-19 close. And I wanted him to see my face and how happy I was to tell him, "I'm finished. You have a great fucking day." And walk right the fuck off as he goes, "What's with your fucking attitude? What with you fucking think?" Like, dude, this guy's freaking out. And I'm laughing the whole way to the car. You know what? I feel so good. This is the best part of my day so far because this guy went out of his way. I get that it might have been hot. He might have been frustrated. He might have wanted his check. And that's why I was hurrying. He gave me no moment to tell him that. He just right away went with, "What's with your fucking attitude?" And this was the first time I've ever felt like this dude is older than me. So he thinks he has a right to ask me about my emotions and how I am not in the right for it, even though he's asking me what's with my fucking attitude. Like, dude, right? Am I wrong in this situation? I want to know your guys' thoughts on this because
You're a lot nicer than I am. I don't let nobody talk to me like that.
I feel like you
I've
would
had
fucker.
Huh?
I really feel like you would have decked this guy. He was
No.
bad.
No, I don't like fighting. It's never been my thing. I'm good at it, but I don't like doing it.
You would have wanted. I wanted to.
But it's much easier just to look at them and just let them know.
Yeah.
Go
Just
fuck yourself.
You don't have to do anything.
And then turn around.
Like, I realized he's older than me. And so I could default to that, but I don't have to do that every time. And I think the thing that a lot of people our age forget, man, we lost Adam again, is
He's having issues.
he's having a hard day, is that like we don't owe anything to anybody right now. And I think that's where so much of this shit is coming from, is people, and this is not just one side, or I think this is both sides thing of like, nobody wants to give up or concede that somebody is not going to have the response you're going to have. Case in point, this week, I've been seeing a lot of this stuff, right, with the like Blackout Tuesday, right? Blackout Tuesday fucked me up. Not because like the point's getting across so hard, which it was. It totally was. And like I got the message. I thought like for activism, that was the first time I'd ever seen it. And if I'm being honest, it's the first time I ever participated in it in any way, shape, or form. And it was the smallest gesture I could have done. And it was something. But something I saw was immediately after someone that I know for doing this. I'm not going to say names or anything because I don't want to single anybody out. But I saw somebody basically calling out other people for not doing it right because the way the algorithm works, it's gonna, and sure, maybe I don't understand it. Maybe it's the like something to do with the hashtags. Maybe one of you guys.
That's why I did not participate in all that because I'm terrible at using social media.
That's what I was fucking thinking. Yeah.
I just go out and protest like a normal person. I can't do it. I am terrible at social media, keeping trends up. I don't follow people that hard, so it's my Facebook, as of course Taylor and Jamie you have seen, is nothing but memes. I'm a meme lord, and
I love it.
It stays that way, and
But
I feel bad because it's like, well, I don't know what's going on, but
yeah, and that was what I ended up defaulting to. Was I was like, well, I could say something heartfelt, and then I was like, it's not fucking me. You know, I hate to say it, but like in this kind of a situation, this is what I was kind of trying to touch on earlier is like, I don't want to be in these situations. One of the people propped up on a pedestal who has to go, look, explicitly, this is my platform. I feel like my rhetoric should always be transparent. It should always be apparent that like Taylor cares about people. And he wants everybody to know that. And he wants to always be supporting of people and stuff. And he just wants you to laugh. That's where I want to be. I want to know that like, and this was a situation where it seems like across the board, nobody make any fucking jokes. Like, and that was what I thought was really interesting was it's been very clear of like, nobody make any jokes about this. I haven't heard any jokes about any of the shit that's been going on.
You know what? I'm also Black, of course, and I do spend a lot of the time on social media. You see,
Adam, do we
like,
have?
I'm finally here.
Oh,
Hi, Adam.
Still my big. We're
Dude,
talking about.
Adam.
My mic was giving me endless grief. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay,
Good.
but
Sorry.
what was it? Oh, I forgot what we were talking about.
Talking about Blackout Tuesday, and
Social
we're talking about how
media.
you and I weren't participating because we didn't know how we should participate.
I'm just terrible at it. Just terrible at that. I don't do that too well.
And
But
you know, that I think.
but that's what I was gonna say. You're asking me, like there was no jokes being made about it, like, and it's terrible. But we all remember, a little bit ago, we lost Kobe Bryant and his daughter, and of course everyone else who was in the helicopter. But not gonna lie, 30 seconds later, there was memes about that whole thing going down, which I was like, some of them were very terrible, and then some of them you saw and you just couldn't help but laugh, and that made me feel bad. But like.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff like that that's happened. A lot of times people use humor to cover up sadness.
We talk about things like the Black Plague and stuff because it's so far removed from our own life. you know, we forget to think of like everybody's. So my thing has always been like either all of it's funny or none of it is. And it's real, like things that bug me about this time right now is, you know, a lot of comedians right now are going like, I can't tell jokes about Trump because look at how silly he is. But the reality of it is you can't tell jokes about Trump right now because nobody thinks it's fucking funny, because it's literally like removing the humor out of it. We can't derive enjoyment from a joke about Trump anymore because I'm just listening to Harmontown the other day, right? Harmontown 2016, and they're right. It's right before the election. And no joke, one of the episodes I'm listening to yesterday, they're like, can you believe it? Trump, everybody's scared Trump is going to get elected. Like, that's not going to happen. Trump's not going to get elected. And I'm just, it's been hard. It's been not hard. It's been surreal to like listen to this whole thing go like, man, we were in such a different situation a short while ago. And I think it's just that same thing right now is there's definitely a lot of comedians who are handling it really well. It seems like everybody understands. No fucking jokes. Even you guys hear Logan Paul, but he got arrested.
Fuck Logan Paul.
But he also like it sounded fake as fuck. But he was like, listen, you can't just be not racist. You have to be anti-racist. And I was like, that's actually really crazy that it was Hassan Minhaj was talking about it. And he was just talking about how fucking crazy that is that Logan Paul, this bro video game YouTuber, is spouting pretty progressive rhetoric and digging really deep into it. And everybody's digging deep into it. And so because we're digging so deep into it, none of us want to make a joke about it. Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to hear a joke about it right now. Everybody.
But honestly, to be fair, I don't. Logan Paul's not a great example because that fool is out there looting.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not saying he's a good example. What I'm saying is the mere fact that a bad example is saying this, though. Like, he may have gone and looted, and he may be profiting from this, but at the very least, the motherfucker is saying something to his base.
No, I think I'm not going to...
Sure. Yeah.
And I hate to be like this, but I feel like it's more of that dude does need some sympathy right now because nobody likes Logan Paul. Yeah. That dude, his YouTube channel got like just taken out.
They're like Mormon clones of each other. Him and Jake Paul.
Wait. Oh crap, that's right. They're actually brothers. They're the same person to me.
And, one of them's
sorry.
Or some shit.
Which one's the one that everyone hates? Is it Jake Paul?
Logan Paul.
It's Logan, I think.
Yeah.
Logan, and the brother everyone likes is Jake.
Yeah, Logan's the one who just got arrested for looting.
There we go. My apologies. Then I was confused.
Sorry to anybody insulted by that statement. Of course, yeah, we gotta apologize for that of all things being discussed in general.
Listen.
Tell me. Listen. You said listen again.
I do it. I know. As soon as I said I stopped, I'm not doing it.
Okay, so we went over some good shit, man. Adam, you while you were struggling,
You missed a lot, Adam.
That connection led us to this discussion, but I was talking about some like fucked up old white man who shat on me at the bank today. I'm not going to say it.
Watch it later.
Yeah, you have to watch it now. But did you guys see Lucas's Pat Sedina finale? Oh my God, you didn't. I know you didn't because nobody's fucking watching it. But oh my God, it was amazing. It had exactly, Elijah, you're going to like this. It had a Kamehameha from his butthole. Like, wow. No joke. Where like, it's the worst because it's Lucas hanging out with his older brother in their backyard. Like, Lucas's older brother is my age, and he's like, they're good. You guys should really, really check out Pat Sedina because it's like, I was surprised how well these guys are doing. It's like an Adult Swim show. That's all it is. It's one of those. It reminds me of the Mighty.
Oh, man, that's good.
Yeah, Mighty Boosh or Eagle Heart. You know, it reminds me of those kinds of things. Very cheesy. Children's Hospital. If you guys have seen that one, really fucking funny. So in this, literally like half the episode is Lucas. Did you guys hear me burp into the microphone just 2 seconds ago?
Yes.
Did you hear that? Oh, that was
I
I
just
actually did
disgusting.
not catch that.
Oh my
Surprisingly.
God, I feel embarrassed about that. All right. I'm
I
like,
give it
you
2 out of
want
you
10.
guys hear me shit my pants? I'm so embarrassed. So Lucas in this fucking thing, like it's him and his brother in their backyard, like in sandals and shorts with dirt on their faces, like doing cartwheels and, and like picking dirt up and throwing it at each other. And it's the cheesiest combat. And then Lucas like does a cartwheel and he lands on the ground and his legs go up and their laser beam shoots out of his crotch. Is the best.
Oh my god.
And then the ending was like, Pasadena's dead. Will she return in the future? And then they like upload her into a computer. It's so fucking good. And so I literally, I messaged Lucas. I was like, can I be a part of this? Guys, this is that low level shit that we can get a part of. This is the like, I'm telling you, it is amazing if you can check it out. And I really think, sorry, Elijah, I cut you off. I'll let you talk in a second. I just think that Instagram
it's fine.
medium that we could totally explore, and it's amazing how well they did it. Go ahead, Elijah. What were you gonna say?
I totally forgot, man. It's
Son of
all
a-
good.
Okay. But you guys, seriously, Tuck. I said it before. Tuck the Suck Man at Tuck the Suck Man. I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna in the editing. I'm gonna point here, and then I'll point here, and then I'll point here. I'll point here, and then it's gonna I'll put Tuck the Suck Man wherever so people know like Tuck the Suck Man. So that watch Pasadena. Seriously, I know I sound like just a crazy guy talking about his friend, but like it really, really was good. It was good, and they filmed it in their backyard. So I did ecstasy once, you guys.
Okay.
All right.
That,
How was
that
that?
sounds like a wild ride.
This might be the last thing I talk about tonight. And I was telling Ben about this today because I don't know. I have this proclivity for liking to do things that everybody else, like most people, are not doing. So that way I can later on talk about those things. I don't do party stuff to have fun during it. Sometimes I do, but I actually do it so I have the stories later on. That's it. Like 90% of what I'm doing, you guys, in my lifetime is just so I can talk about it later on. So I realized today, I'm talking to Ben, and I can't remember, we were talking about drugs and stuff like that, and I had told him that I had done ecstasy before. We were talking about Molly, and we were talking about stuff like that, and I was like, well, the ecstasy I did was cocaine-laced ecstasy, and they called it a Pokeball. And I thought about this, and then I was like, I did ecstasy with cocaine in it, and I didn't think about it at all till like today, you guys. Like I did a hard drug and like didn't register until today. Look, I don't still do ecstasy. Like, let me bear with you real quick. I don't still do ecstasy. It was a one-time thing. It was great, but I'm never doing it again probably. Like if you want to
Probably.
You know, that
because here's the thing.
is a hint of doubt.
It is definitely a hint of doubt, but the thing about doing some of these drugs and that's hard. Okay, so you smoke weed, and I guess I get where they say that weed's an entry-level drug, obviously, but you could say that about any fucking drug. I feel like the most entry-level drug is going to be alcohol, right? Your parents drink.
Mhm.
Cigarettes is even more accessible because you can get it when you're 18, now 21. But it's like drinking, cigarettes, those are accessible. And
Drinking cigarettes.
Drinking cigarettes. Obviously, you throw them in some water.
They're
And
drinking cigarettes.
and man, how great is it to mix drinking and cigarettes into one fantastic activity? But I switched to marijuana, and I like marijuana a lot more. And, you know, so that just led me to trying other things. I've tried salvia. I've tried spice. And don't fucking touch that, you guys. Spice is crazy. Salvia, don't touch that either.
Are we
Salvia.
talking about spice like Dune?
No. Spice, like Scooby snacks, like is technically legally potpourri, you guys. Like the shit that goes on table as an aromatic. No, both of them. Yeah, spice and salvia are technically like aesthetic aromatic things with chemicals in them. Spice was more like, a lot of people call it the marijuana, but it's not like pot at all. You hit it, and the one time I hit it and it actually worked on me, I remember going into my brain very specifically and like getting caught up in my brain, and I remember I hit up my friend. We went to this random kid's house that I hadn't seen in 2 years, where there used to be adults and a couple kids living in this house, like his parents and him. There were now about 20 18-year-old kids living in this one house all together.
Oh, God.
No fucking adults. And they walk me through the kitchen, which has a curtain going through the middle of it for another bedroom. And they take me into the backyard where we go smoke spice. And I have this epiphany of like, I am no joke in a like after school special. Like there's this guy right here and he's all baked out of his mind. And there's this really sweet kid right here and he just looks like he's innocent and having a good time. And there's my buddy who's like, this ain't a big deal at all. And I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, you guys. And like, and they're like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm sorry, you guys, this is like quintessential what we saw on TV as children. This is what they talked about in Dare. And like got up and walked out and went and sat in the car and talked to my friend about how I have drug issues. I still smoke pot to this day. Salvia is like doing 2 hits of acid, maybe 10, and tripping over the course of about a minute. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I heard it's short.
Really
that short?
First time I ever did it, the table turns into a man's face, a moon man face, and everything turns yellow and purple. And I look around and I'm like, you've got yellow suspenders and a purple skin, and you've got yellow suspenders and a purple skin, and everything starts moving, and it's a circus. And then next thing I knew, you guys, I lived for 2,000 years, and then I woke up and I was like, what the fuck happened? And that's salvia. That's legal in most states. So, to the ecstasy. One day, I had been smoking pot pretty regularly. I started smoking pot my senior year of high school, never touched it before then. And then when I started smoking weed, like, it clicked for me. I like weed. It's never really bugged me. I've been more productive since smoking weed, but like randomly, I was the only person with a job. So I always had pot. And when I hung out with these groups of people, they abused my goodwill. They knew that if they called me over, I had weed and I would provide it. I was happy to have friends. So I go hang out with them one day, and one of the guys, Nick, I'll just use his real name, fuck it. He is like taking care of these people's house, right? He like babysits their or something. And randomly he goes, we should call up Ryan and Michael and go hang out with them and see if we can get hard drugs. I'm like, for some reason that day I was like, yeah, let's go do that. So we go out to get Ryan and Michael. Ryan and Michael get in the car. They tell us a bunch of stories about all the drugs they've done all throughout high school, apparently. I've known Ryan since we were 10. I've known Michael since I was 12. Michael was one of my best friends all through high school. I hadn't really talked to him in a while. Basically just start learning, oh, this kid's been doing drugs all of high school. So they're like, let's go find some fucking drugs. And so we go looking around the city. They get a hold of somebody. We go all the way across the city, go pick up these 2 kids. They get in our car. I pay $20. They give me 2 pills. And we specifically looked for what's called Pokeballs. It's cocaine-laced ecstasy. And fucking we did all this research and stuff, you guys. Like, we got way into figuring this out. We take these pills, go back to his house with all these dudes. We mash the pills up, put them into a napkin, and then you eat that like a pill. And apparently it hits you not only faster, but harder. I did not stop tripping for an entire day. Like 24 hours of nonstop seeing shit and feeling shit. You essentially, once it starts to kick in, you want to hug everybody. You want to be best friends with them. You want to spend time with them. You feel this. It's in the same way that I felt with other psychs and stuff like that. But this was different. This was because the thing that I didn't take into account is when you do ecstasy laced with another drug, apparently it's like doing that drug, but like up here, like for a long fucking time. So I basically did cocaine for about 14 hours straight. Like I felt energetic. I didn't sleep. I remember we got to 4 a.m. and somebody's like, we got to sleep. We got to go to sleep, you guys. And I'm rolling around on the floor and I'm like, come on, you guys, you got to do this. This is awesome. And then somebody goes, Taylor, you got to go to sleep. And so I lay down and I remember closing my eyes and then opening them again. And so I was like, what time is it? And somebody goes, it's 10 o'clock. So I just like closed my eyes and opened them and it was 6 hours later. And I realized that, oh, I have to go to work. I'm on call for today. Called out like immediately. But that's the long and short of it was like, what I got out of it was like, okay, you feel happy, but it's not like genuine. And you just feel energetic for a long fucking time, too long. And the thing I didn't like about it was you don't really have any sort of semblance of control whatsoever about who you are or where you're going with that. Mm-hmm. I think the hardest part of it was definitely not knowing when it was over. I think I've done acid before because I went to buy pot from this guy when I was like 16. And I was trying to be friends with my brother again. No, I was 18. I wasn't 16. And I was trying to connect with my brother again. And I thought the way to connect was to buy acid for the two of us. So Jamie, you just missed something. So I purchased acid from this guy, like 1 tab of acid or maybe 2 tabs. And then as it's sitting in my weed bottle, I go, I don't really want to do acid. So I go, can you take it back and can I have my money back? And then, rubbing my eyes, not thinking about it. And then I go, hey, if I touched the acid and I rubbed my eyes, will that have an effect on me? And he goes, oh yeah, for sure. And I'm like, uh-oh, I have to drive somebody home. So the time comes that I have to drive him home. I do not remember this car ride super well. I remember driving, we weren't far from my home, but we're driving down the road and we're taking a lot of back roads. And I just remember the lights like fucking flying by. Like it was weird. It didn't feel right. I drop him off. I go around the corner and I'm like, fuck this. And I'm maybe a mile away from my house, park on the side of the road, fall asleep. 4 hours later, wake up, go home. Like, that's a lot of my stories. It's like, yeah, I did drug once. I did them for 14 hours, got in my car, and I went home. And that's the whole fucking story.
Dude, that reminds me of the Quaaludes part in Wolf of Wall Street. Have you guys seen that?
Yes. Yeah. That's great.
Dude, that whole scene is so wild.
That's the weird thing about drugs sometimes, too, is like, I feel like they have this potential to help us, right? Obviously, I've been talking about drugs for a long time, but I don't like that loss of self. There have definitely been some times, especially on some psychs, like you get to a certain moment where you're like, this is pain. This is, and it's not pain. It's not like physical pain. It's not even like a real mental anguish. It's not depression. It's what it is the drug is making you face yourself. And a lot of people don't realize this. The interesting thing about psychedelics is when they're going into your system, they're opening up parts of your brain you haven't opened in years. People don't realize when you go through trauma, you literally cause damage to the brain. And certain drugs will access those parts of the brain again. Certain drugs will also go into those parts of the brain and kill them. Ecstasy has been shown to cause like holes in the brain and stuff like that. That's the most dangerous thing in my opinion. And it's the same thing with a lot of other drugs. You know, you do too many of them and you're going to overinflux that portion of your brain and you're going to damage it. You know, it's really, really easy to do. It's really easy to forget how easy it is to do. I've talked about drugs a lot right now. Wow. I just laid them all out there on the table. And, you know, I really don't condone drugs. That's the interesting thing I think I've learned the most from this is like, I don't think you have to do drugs to get an experience. I think that there are a lot of us who are dealing with some damage to our brain. And those are the people that need to do it. They need to access those parts again. When you do a psychedelic or even like ecstasy, which is actually stimulant, you are accessing those parts of your brain. And when you go to therapy, you're able to talk about the accessing of those parts of your brain. If you go to therapy and you're also doing drugs, which create you more open to this inner spiritual experience, you psychologically open yourself up to a little bit of healing, not in the way you think you would. You're going to open up avenues of your brain, go there. And again, not saying everybody needs to do this. Some people get this from life. They get this from their day to day. Some of us,
bastards.
Yeah, some of us don't. Some of us literally like have been through some stuff. Maybe I'll tell you guys about that one day. But like, oh man, we have 3 minutes. We have 3 minutes, and I have to close this with something. What should it be? What should it be?
Something interesting.
No, not something interesting.
Yes, it has to be interesting. This whole conversation has been interesting.
Wait. What? Like, okay. What kind of vibe are we going for? What kind of artist should we capture? Does anybody know? I heard Billie Eilish. All right, Billie Eilish. We're doing that.
Oh my lord.
I did drugs. I did drugs, and I liked it. I'm 17, I'm a little girl getting older. You put me on my knees, and I'm sucking on your dick like you do. Oh, this aggressive male microaggressions. Doing drugs. Doing drugs. Oh, man. Also, MySpace.com and unicorns like a 17-year-old likes. All right. There's got to be a hook to this. What's the hook? What's the... do drugs. You got to do the drugs. Do drugs. You've got to do the drugs. Drugs are good. Drugs. Drugs are good. You've got to do the drugs. Drugs. You've got to do the drugs. Drugs are good. You're a robot. Robot dance. Drugs. You and drugs like a robot. Drugs. You've got to do the drugs. You're a robot. You're a robot. Robot dance. Drugs. You and drugs. You're a robot. Drugs. I got this song is about toxic masculinity. Secretly, but not secretly. Okay. Did anybody else get uncomfortable with that music video? She had the blood in her mouth and like her knees and stuff. Oh, it's so uncomfortable. Thanks for being here, you guys. I liked having you here. Adam, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Jamie Lee and Elijah, you guys are national treasures and gems. We got to figure out a structure for this shit because a van can't just drive on without everybody just waiting for it to hit a fucking wall. Philippi, MIB, and again.